as a former 4-H'er when I was younger, it's really nice to finally see the kind of the headquarters up here at Ohio State. So it's nice to see the stuff on the walls and all the 4-H stuff around. So thank you again for having me. So again, as the gentleman mentioned, I work for Washington Electric Cooperative. I'm the IT specialist there. I've been there for the last 2 years. And again, we're in Southeast Ohio, serving Washington County, parts of Athens County, Morgan, Noble, and some up in the Guernsey and Monroe counties. Started operations in 1940, and again, about 10,500 meters throughout our territory. So when I came to Washington Electric, my number one project was to finish our smart meter deployment. Up until that time, we were a self-read utility. Every month when members received their bill, when they sent back their payment, they had to also return back their meter reading. And again, while that was been working great for years, not everybody is so honest. Not all the meters were very, very accurate. It was time to make a change. So at any rate, when I came on board, the meters were installed in the homes. The server was going, and I think we had one last substation to complete, and we got that all set up, and we started using our new system for billing in November of 2015. And since then, things have been great. So depending on what year you received your new meter, depending on where you live now, you may have a new one depending on your utility, but this is a GE I-210 meter. Now, one thing that I've noticed from the other presentations here is that these people can give you some choice, variety of things, buy this for that if it's your kind of house or whatnot. Not a whole lot of choice in purchasing electric meters. You're pretty much at the mercy of your utility. So my goal today is to share with you how we're using smart meters to better engage with our members and, again, facilitate that back and forth medium between utility and consumer to make better energy decisions. One of the first things I noticed when I started getting phone calls, being the new meter person, is, does this system use RF? Am I going to have to, retune my TV, or is it going to mess with things? I've got pacemaker, things of that. Very, very valid concerns. The nice thing about our system is that it's not RF based. If you've ever been to Southeast Ohio, not all of it's nice and flat like here in Columbus. There's a fair amount of hills in the area. So RF wasn't really a practical solution for us. So this is a server, as you can see there in the cabinet at one of our substations. So everything we have communicates via power line carrier. Yes, sir?
How many smart meters are radio frequency like around the country? Is it a common thing, or is it mostly like your setup here?
Again, in my limited exposure to it, it's kind of a mix. There's some cooperatives that use a mix of power line carrier and RF. It just depends on what their density is. I think when I lived here in Columbus, AEP had it was kind of an RF where you had to drive the truck around. It would pull the meters as you walk up down the street. That's kind of an RF type system. There are other RF systems that meters will actually talk to the next meter down the road, and then talk to the next meter down the road, and send it on down that way. So the different kinds. But again, ours is power line carrier, so the meter talks and sends its data over the power line itself using the voltages present on the line, and then it all goes to the substation into this server here, and where it's tied into our private computer network, and that brings it back to the office for billing and collection and other uses. So again, no RF. It's pretty quite reliable. All right. So some of the benefits that we've realized here is obviously having this data being warehoused. Collecting data allows us to do analysis, do projections, load predictions, load analysis, things of that nature. With outages, if the meters aren't able to talk back when we send pings, that's a pretty good idea. The power's out there, and again, if we have everything organized in such a way, we can tell our crews, go to the switch point and check the breaker, check the fuse, those types of things. So it's really helped out with that. Even as far as troubleshooting, maybe the power's not out, but it's blinking, or voltage is low, voltage too high. If members start calling in saying, I'm going through light bulbs a lot faster than I ever have. Again, the meters are collecting voltages throughout the day. I've been recording those on our systems, and I'm able to go back and do analysis for our line crews and dispatch accordingly.
What's the frequency of the reading?
We can read as often as every 15 minutes if we like to, and same thing with voltages. The issue with this system here is because the meters can only send so much data at a time, we have to kind of space things out. So currently I'm reading voltages 4 times a day, and we do readings once a day.
Would you record 15-minute intervals somewhere throughout 24/7?
Yes, those are recorded on the server, yes.
Okay.
All right. Another benefit we found out is accuracy. Again, some of the old mechanical meters that we found were, getting older, didn't always spin accurately. Some slower than others, some faster than others. We've realized a lot more accuracy with metering going to the digital platform. And again, having a daily read, it's able to give us more of a trend. We can show you history, give you some analytics when it comes to analyzing what why your bill is what it is, or if you're trying to figure out if you've saved any money with going to an efficient solution, new windows, solar panels, whatever the case may be. So a lot of these benefits are mutual to both the utility and the member. But the one thing I want to focus on today is giving members access to data that's more than just their billing data. So as it is today with our system, if a member called in and said, my bill is way too high, there's no way it should be this high, this is the report that I would generate from our systems, and what I would do is either email it to the member, have them call me back, and we'll talk through it, or mail it to them, whatever the case may be. But what this shows you here is the hour of the day, 1 through 24, and this is a 30-day period for this customer here. And the numbers you see that are in red represent a 20% or more change in the same time period before or after, or more so than the average. And then, of course, on the right, you have the total kilowatts used for the entire day. So again, you get this report in the mail or email, and you see all this stuff. That's a lot of numbers. Again, once we talk through it, we've been able to help customers really find what it was that was, again, being the power vampire in their home. I've had some members, buy what they thought was going to be an energy efficient solution for heating their home. Again, we start doing some analysis when these things kick on and off, and realize that maybe it wasn't the most efficient move to put these new things in for heating. So again, our goal was to make this easier for the member. Rather than calling me or submitting a form on our website, we're going to be investing in a new system called Smart Hub. We intend to launch this later on this year in September. And what that's going to allow us to do is, instead of giving hourly data, which is the most granular I can get reports out to the members right now, they'll be able to get down to see their 15-minute interval reads if they want to, update their contact information with us, look at their billing data, make payments, and also be able to report outages, trouble, and things of that nature. Yes, sir.
Are you planning to connect it to GreenHome?
I have not heard about that, but no, I'll learn more about it. All right, cool. All right, so again, we're hoping to get this rolled out in September. All right, so this is what it's going to look like. This is a demo page, and the data you saw before on that big spectrum of numbers. This is the same customer. I've plotted out the details here, so we don't really reveal anybody's fault or identity, I guess you will. But on the main page here, what you can see is we're collecting temperature, and that comes from the National Weather Service. We're housing that in our database, and we're collecting our reads. And again, right now, we can go back as much data as we want to pay for on the server. We can store as much as we want, and this thing will crank through and prepare graphs and show you analysis. Haven't really hit the full mark yet, so I'm going to try to push it as long as I can before we have to start dumping data off the back end. So really don't know how far back we'll be able to go. We'll see what happens once we start getting it full and getting people signed up. Let's see here. All right, so this here's just a a more detailed version of that same screen. Rather than showing the average temperature, I went ahead and turned on the high and the low temperature. So again, if you're wanting to find out, why is my bill so high in December? Was it extra cold that month? Or in the mid of summer, was it extra hot that month, more so than usual? Again, the idea here is to kind of give you a reference of temperature and weather to see if that's what contributed to your high or altered bill. All right, and this is another screen that just shows you averages over a 12-month span. The reason that the month down there is blank is that we were in the middle of that billing cycle when we ran this. So again, something we're really looking forward to. Now, what's really exciting is when you start getting into this type of analysis here, and we have some really exciting features that are coming to us once the system is finished. But if you can see this here, this is a comparison of March 2017 to March 2016. And again, if you guys can see the numbers here, I'm going to see if I can zoom in on my own screen here and see this. But it's going to show you the data on the left there of the prior year. And if you can notice there, right there on the right side, March 2017, you'll notice here that the total usage charges for this month, March 2017, were negative $21. So this member here actually installed solar panels on his home. And this past January, we started issuing cogeneration credits. So we're actually paying members back for energy that they overproduce and put back onto the grid. And so when you compare last March with this March, again, he's realizing a real savings. Even though you can see here the red circle, his actual consumption of power was up, 366 kilowatts year over year. So again, he did a really good job with buying the right kind of panel, sized it correctly, and he's really reaping the benefits. And you can also see here that it was 1 degree colder this year than it was last year. Okay. If we move on to the previous cycle here, so now we're comparing February 2017 to February 2016. Again, the month of February was again a little different than it was the prior year, but again within 2 or 3 degrees Fahrenheit. Again, consumption was up. But again, you can see here that his bill again dropped by, it looks like $81, year over year with the addition of his solar panel project. And again, same thing again. Again, he's really seen the benefits of his panels. This is the first month that we had him on the cogeneration program. We started that with January's billing cycle, and again, he saved $13 year over year on his utility bill. Now, one nice thing that I don't have pictured here because it's not on our demo site yet, but we are allowing a member to go into Smart Hub and actually tag or create events. So I was telling somebody I was sitting with at lunch today, if you install these new light systems that we saw over in the Encore house, if you install new windows, get a heat pump or make all these changes, changing all the light bulbs at one time, you can come in here and actually flag the day and the time, the day and the hour, and say, I changed every light bulb in my house on this day and this hour, and then compare that going forward or compare that with, reads past, and really do some cost analysis and say, okay, am I really making the savings that I thought I was, with these energy efficient upgrades. So again, this is Smart Hub enrolling out in September of 2017. At the time, again, you mentioned other co-ops that are using the RF and this and that. Again, only being in the business for a couple of years, I'm still learning my way around. I've been to a few of the conventions, but this is something that a lot of co-ops have had, and it's something we really tried to get. So our board finally, granted my project funds, and we're able to move forward, and we're very, very excited about it. But depending on where you live, I'm not sure if AEP has something similar, or if you're in Mon Power or Duke, whatever the utilities are around. Again, check with them, see if they offer this, and I encourage you to sign up and start getting that data that you can really use out of your smart meter. And if you guys have questions, I have no problem taking phone calls from anybody that asks questions about our system, or if you want to come down and see how it works, have no problem giving tours of the systems and showing you, kind of what kind of system we bought, why we bought it, what kind of tweaks we've made. Again, I'd like for everybody to see this and be as open as I can as far as what the data is, how it gets here, and how we intend to use it for both the members' benefit and the utility. So, any questions? I know I talk fast. It happens when I get excited. Yes.
So is there any security concerns about this management?
Not that I can see. Again, a few of the concerns that people have expressed to me is, if energy consumption is up when I'm home, that means when I'm home. If it's down when I'm not home, when I'm not home. Obviously those kind of things. But again, with these light systems, if you're on vacation, you want to make it look like you're home as a deterrent for theft or burglary. You can program those things to power on, I'm sure, and of course your meter would tick up, making it look like I thought you were home at the office. But not that I can. I don't know any security concerns I can see off the face. Other questions that have been posed are, if somebody were to intercept the bits as they're traveling across the line to the server for reading information. Again, it's high voltage, so you can't just plug anything into it to do packet capture, like with Wireshark or something on a normal network. But again, it's the system we have is called TWAX. It's made by a company in St. Louis called Aclara. It's proprietary, so you'd have to have their systems, their server, to really interpret the bits to get any kind of a valid read. So at this point, I don't know of any security concerns at this time. Yes, sir.
So as a cooperative, do you all do just distribution, or are you as part of the business model transmission and generation as well?
Sure. Every state is different. In Ohio, all the cooperatives are primarily distribution. We can do our own transmission when it comes to tying substations together, for backfeeding and outage purposes. But as far as transmission, that's all handled by AEP Ohio, and again, we primarily handle from the substation out. Yes, sir.
Will AEP install smart meters free of charge for any in Ohio? What's the deal with the customers that they play?
I don't know what AEP's position is on that. I know with us that we wanted to make it our primary billing platform. So based on what I've had to work with, I would encourage any utility that's looking at doing smart meters to make that their billing platform and just make everybody have one. And then if the customer wants the data, they can have it. If not, you can still warehouse it and then use that stuff for your own purposes. Yes, ma'am.
I'm recalling something. Washington Electric Co-op, did you just put in solar array somewhere?
Yes, we're a member of Ohio's Electric Cooperatives, which is kind of like a big cooperative that all the little co-ops are a member of, and they also provide our AP brings the power to us, but we buy our power from Buckeye Power and Ohio Electric's cooperative. So it's a program through that. It's part of our generation package. So we have a big array out in front of our building. Yes. Yes. Yeah. So we don't own them. We again buy power from them as if we were buying it from the power plant.
It's in the Marietta area?
Yeah, it's right in front of our building on Highland Ridge, yes. You can go to our website, weci.org. We've got an Our Solar button right there. You can actually look at the panels production, month to date, since we turned them on to now, so total production. We have all that stuff right there on the website. You can take a look at it. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
So our next presentation is going to be Ben Holler talking about today smart home. Ben works in residential sales team for Lutron Electronics in the northeastern region of the U.S. He's a graduate of Muhlenberg College and currently an MBA candidate at NYU Stern